On 2004 to 2006 Pontiac GTOs, there's this wiring harness that comes out of the body control module behind the glove box that rubs on a metal component, and it rubs through sometimes, causing all kinds of electrical issues. In this video, we're going to be heading in there, making sure everything's okay, and then adding some extra protection to make sure it stays that way. Pull out on this side gently, and then let it slide out. There's a hole in there that a pin goes into, that pin right there. This is the body control module, and these three plugs have the wires coming out of it that go into the bundle that rubs up against this metal piece here. So my battery is currently disconnected. In fact, it's completely out of the car, but that's overkill if you're just doing this job. Just disconnecting it should be fine as long as the wire doesn't slowly bend back into shape and reconnect itself. Now I'm going to unplug these three harnesses. Alright, all three of these are disconnected. They all lead to the same wire bundle, which I'm going to move in front of this metal panel so we can take a better look at it. So I can't get it to show up on camera, but around here, right where this metal piece bends in and touches the wire, there's something up here. You could feel it, and it's a little bit sticky here, whereas it's not sticky over here or back here. It's just right here. So I have something to replace this stuff with, so I'm going to cut this off and make sure the wires underneath are okay. So it looks like I'm not the first person to get in here. That is some electrical tape, and that looks like it wasn't originally on there. It doesn't look like it's a professional factory job. It's not the worst tape job I've seen, but like there's a little bit of a gap in there. I think this is the stock wire wrap material, and they just rewound it after they were done taping that wire up. So this stuff wasn't holding up, so we're going to replace that with some normal electrical tape. I'm also going to do a few steps after that to further protect this bundle of wires. Remember that when you're wrapping this, you don't want to wrap all the way down because you do need some movement so you can plug these things in. So line this plug up with the metal here. You want a little past this circle. So that wire bundle is wrapped up. It's a little stiff, but not too stiff where I can't move it around. Next, I'm going to wrap it up with some wire conduit to further protect it. This is blue. It doesn't matter because it's going to be hidden away. You're not going to see it. Blue is just what I had on hand, and it's going to save me a trip to the parts store. So before I cut it, I'm just going to put it up here and see how far it needs to go. Not long, and then it's going to cover up to about here. This can be longer than how much you taped, and that's about there, so I'm going to take that much. Open the split up top and then feed the wires into it. So I have the split turned towards the camera so you could see it better, but you're going to want to turn this around. That split is going to have less protection, so you want it facing away from where this metal thing is. Once you have it turned around, you're going to tape that up too. That's going to add further protection, and we're not done protecting this yet. There's a lot of protection on this now, and it's pretty stiff. It's not rigid, but it does resist bending quite a bit. It's going to be difficult to get this behind this metal piece, and that's why you do need to have some flexibility in here. If you have some way of sliding protection onto this wire when it's back behind here, go right ahead, but it's going to be real difficult to spin electrical tape like this around it. Be careful around here. There's some sharp metal and plastic, especially right here. This is really sharp. There we go. Alright, it's back behind the metal piece. That gives us all these problems. Before we add the last bit of protection, we can plug these back in, and all these have different plug designs, so they only plug into the correct plug. All of these little squeeze tabs are going to face down at the bottom. This final step of protection is going to be the most controversial and therefore the most optional. I am grabbing a few used containers of RTV silicone that is usually used for making gaskets, and I'm going to put some up there in hopes that it'll form a piece of rubber that will prevent this from moving around back and forth when the car is flexing as it goes around the corner and such. Now, I would personally not buy a brand new tube of gasket maker to do this. I just have some laying around that might not even be good anymore, and I'm going to open them up and see if I can do anything with them. Alright, I found some. Of course, it's the little container that's still working. That RTV doesn't look great, but hopefully it'll add that one last bit of protection, and obviously this is not the best use case for this stuff. It's not designed to do this, so it's the most optional step in this whole thing. And if you're doing this optional step, you do want to make sure whatever RTV you're using isn't the kind that disintegrates paint. There was some weather strip adhesive stuff that I was considering using here, but it was saying it was going to remove the paint that it attaches to, so I don't want there to be paint just coming off and falling into the footwell. While this is curing, you're going to want to give it some time to off gas, and you don't want to be there breathing in those fumes, so I'm going to get out of here and let it do its thing. Once that's cured up all the way, you can come back in and push on these plugs, make sure that they're in all the way. They generally click, but if you've already pushed on them, they won't click again. You can then start sliding your trim in. Connect this first. This slides up in, and then you press it in to those two connectors. To put this glove box back in, you have to put the pin into this hole first, and then this will attach right here. Right, the pin's in, and now it's attached. Alright, looks good. If you go to attach this too low, it's going to run into trouble with the little rubber things that keep it from falling down too far. Hopefully this is preventative maintenance for you, because it's going to be really difficult to get up in there and cut some wires, strip back the insulation, solder them back together, or connect them however you prefer to connect them. There's not a lot of room to work in there, as you're able to tell by wrapping the wires up, and that's the easy job. So hopefully you get in there and do your preventative maintenance before it becomes a bigger, more difficult to deal with issue. I've got a bunch of other GTO repair and modification videos in the back catalog, so consider checking those out, and consider subscribing so when I make new ones, you're the first to find out. Thanks for watching this Car Simplified video, and I hope to see you in the next one.